So if you're in the financial markets, listen up. There is a massive shift happening right now, and it's not some little market correction. We're talking about an existential threat to the very idea of being a trader. You know, the skill, the edge, the entire craft. And the thing that's coming for it? It isn't another crash. It's artificial intelligence.
And this is the question that macro investor Raoul Pal is putting on the table. And it's a brutal one, right? I mean, if a superintelligence can see the market faster, smarter, and more accurately than any human, what edge do you possibly have left? What's your angle?
And we're not talking about a small change here. Pal's number is 99%. He thinks 99% of traders are on a path to being replaced. That's not just a disruption. That's pretty much an extinction-level event for an entire profession.
Okay, so before you panic and close out your brokerage account, hold on. This isn't just a story about everything coming to an end. It's actually about the beginning of a whole new way of thinking. It's about a new playbook for not just getting by, but actually thriving in this new world.
So you gotta ask, why is all this happening right now? Well, it's because the world is being driven by two absolutely unstoppable megatrends that are basically rewriting all the old rules of investing.
Yeah, and this slide really frames the shift perfectly. The old way, that was all about fighting in the trenches, right? Short-term trades, trying to outsmart the market day to day, week to week. But the new way, it's about getting out of those trenches, looking way out at the horizon, and just riding the biggest financial waves in history.
And here they are. These are the two waves Pal says you have to be watching. First, artificial intelligence, the arrival of a non-human superintelligence. And second, cryptocurrency, which he calls, and I'm quoting here, the fastest growing asset in terms of performance in all human history in the shortest period of time. He's arguing these aren't just market cycles, you guys. These are fundamental bedrock shifts for humanity.
Okay, so if the game has completely changed, how the heck do you play it? Well, this brings us right to Pal's new investment playbook. It's all about moving away from that frantic gambling and into a real long-term strategy. And this is the question Pal wants every single trader to ask themselves. Seriously, he says so much of that short-term trading is really just gambling. It's for the dopamine hit, you know, the feeling of being in the action. But he's challenging you to ask yourself, are you doing this just to feel something? Are you doing this to fundamentally change your financial future? And this right here brilliantly illustrates his solution. He calls it the "don't fuck this up" thesis. And it's so simple. Put 90% or more of your money into the best of the best names that capture these huge megatrends. Then, if you still need that adrenaline fix, use that last 10% for those speculative, high-risk punting trades. But the core, the vast majority of your wealth, should be riding that big wave.
And this is Pal at his most direct. He's not mincing words. He sees these megatrends as this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a chance to, in his words, unfuck your future. And the message couldn't be clearer. The biggest risk isn't the market going up and down. The biggest risk is missing this opportunity entirely.
And here's the crucial point. When a trend is this powerful, trying to be clever and trade around the edges to get a little extra alpha, it's probably going to fail. Paul guarantees most traders won't beat the trend by trying to be cute. The winning play is to just get in line with it and capture the whole move.
Okay, so this brings us to a really interesting turning point. We started this whole thing with AI as the ultimate threat, right? The thing that's going to replace you. But Paul completely reframes it. He argues that instead of being your replacement, AI can actually become your single greatest advantage, a genuine superpower. So the natural question is, okay, that sounds great, but how does a regular person, a regular trader, actually do that? How do you turn this abstract idea of a superpower into a real tool you can use like today? And Pal's advice is dead simple. It's almost funny how simple it is. Take any chart, any stock, any crypto, any time frame, and just upload the picture to a tool like ChatGPT. And then just ask it, what do you think? He says the analysis you get back will blow your mind. Then follow up with, what's driving this price action? He says you'll realize very quickly it knows more than you do.
And the takeaway here is just so stark. In this new world, choosing not to use AI, that isn't just a preference anymore. It's a massive competitive disadvantage. It's like you're willingly showing up to a fight with one hand tied behind your back, while your opponent literally has a superpower.
Now let's zoom all the way out, because this strategy isn't just about making better trades this quarter.
It's about getting ready for a future that is going to look radically different from today. Pal lays out this timeline. Right now, we're here. We operate in a world where we kind of know the rules. But as we get closer to 2030, he sees this insane acceleration where AI just changes everything. And then beyond that, we hit what he calls a singularity, a point where the future becomes almost impossible to predict because we won't be the smartest things on the planet anymore.
He actually calls this the economic singularity. Think of it like a black curtain you just can't see past. What does a stock market even look like when AI is infinitely intelligent? What's a job? What does investing even mean? He argues that anyone who pretends they know the answers is lying. We just don't know.
So, how in the world do you prepare for a future you literally cannot predict? Well, this is the ultimate why behind his whole strategy. The only way is to build enough financial security now so that you have the freedom and the resilience to adapt to whatever that world looks like. See, it's not just about getting rich, it's about securing your ability to handle radical, unpredictable change.
And that brings us to his final and I think most powerful question. It just boils everything down to a simple gut check. That short-term adrenaline, that gambling, it might feel good today, but in that strange, unknowable world of 2035, is your future self going to thank you for the choices you're making right now?